And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game called Intrigue City. Now, Intrigue City is called Intrigue City because it's all about intrigue. And in this city, you are trying to establish equilibrium in different guilds in the city. You don't want too much influence, because obviously then people know you're influencing the guild. And you don't want too little, because then you're actually not influencing the guild. You want just right. It's a really intriguing idea, an interesting theme. It's a kind of worker placement game, which is a genre I like. Let's take a look. Here's the main board of the game. There's going to be different cards that are placed here depending on the number of players. So I'm showing you what it looks like for a 5-player game. Some cards are printed on the board, these two, Scapegoat and Old Debts. Others are placed on here. Some have stars. You'll use a certain number of those depending on the number of players. So in a 5-player game, you would use 4 random ones out of a mix of cards. Each player is going to get 2 tokens, an offensive one and a defensive one, black and gray. And they're also going to have a player board. On their player board, they're going to put 3 groups of cubes, a red, yellow, white, and a white. They can put those in any of these 6 guilds that they would like to. Now, these colors specifically mean numbers. Red means 3, yellow means 2, and white means 1. What you are trying to do in this game is get equilibrium in each of the guilds. So if you have equilibrium in purple, you would need to get 6 there. So, for example, 2 reds would do it. And in case you can't figure out the different numbers, they have a little chart here that shows all the different combinations of cubes that equals 6. So you'll start the game like this, and on a player's turn, during each of the rounds of the game, and you have up here at the top of the board a round tracker. You're going to do 2 rounds, and then there will be a, I'll explain the in-between phase at that point. But in each round, when it's your turn, you're going to play either your offensive or defensive piece. Now, you know whose turn it is by whoever's farthest back on the intrigue track. And when you take an action, you're going to move your intrigue marker. So let's say, for example, I pick this Clash of Plans for my action. I look over here on the side and you see those 4 spiders right here. That means that costs 4 intrigue to take that action. So once I take that, I'll move my marker 4. And so then red would go next, then purple, then blue. And then maybe, let's say it ended up like this, then blue would go, then yellow, then purple, then red. And if it's your turn to go and you've already used both your actions, you simply pass. Now, the way this game works is whenever you use one of these actions and place it on there, if you place the gray one there, you'll use it for your board. If you place the black one there, you'll use it on your opponent's board. By the way, you can't place one where someone else has already placed one. So if someone else is already there, I can't do it. So this one, for example, is blackmail. Add or remove a red cube from any section on the board. So if I was doing this to my board, down here, I might add it here because that makes me come to 6. That would be my defensive action. If I was doing it to my opponent's board, I might take this red one away, or I might find it funnier to throw another red one in there, which brings that up to 8. Again, not equilibrium. Now, on the defensive maneuver only, if you affect one of the guilds, you will take that guild's matching minor power card. If you cause it to be equilibrium, for example in this red one, I cause equilibrium, I'll take the major power card, which is basically the same thing but a little bit better. Now, these cards, you can only have 1 of each color. These cards you can play at different times, and they allow you to do different actions. Some of them can be played, for example, this lets me play my defensive one on a spot where someone else already has a place. This lets me play my offensive one on a spot where somebody already has it. This lets me move a white cube from one spot to an adjacent spot when someone attacks me. And this one, see, the major one is white or yellow cube. And this one lets me add or subtract a white whenever someone attacks me. When I attack somebody, if I attack their purple guild, I can add or subtract 1 white from my purple guild. Again, upgrade it. It could be any cube, not just white. And so there's different special powers for each of the guilds. After all the players have passed, everybody will look at their guilds. Anybody who has equilibrium in a guild, so for this example, this player here has equilibrium in the red guild only, so they would take one of the Brotherhood of Steel cards. If they had equilibrium in 2 guilds, let's say they had equilibrium here in the brown guild, they would also get an Eternal Seekers card. And you would take those and place those face down in front of you, because they'll be worth points at the end of the game. After every 2 rounds of players doing this, players are then going to draw some cards from the top of their deck. They're going to draw 3 cards and look at them secretly. These cards are going to show different colored guilds. They're going to play one of these, and depending on the number of players, that card is going to cause that guild, the green guild, to go up in value down here on tracks on the main board. So if I played the green one here, that make it go up 1. Some of the cards make it go up 2 or 3, again, depending on the number of players. So these are going to change in value, and you'll want to get equilibrium in the ones that go higher in value. You're going to be doing this 4 times over the course of the game. The 3rd and the 4th time you do it, it's secret, the card that you pick. So no one, that's not revealed until the end of the game, and then we'll adjust them accordingly. At the end of the game, you'll remove all your markers from the Intrigue track. Whoever has the highest Intrigue will get this card, which is worth 3 victory points. And you're going to take these markers and then put them back on the track and use them for scoring. Each person is going to reveal all the different equilibrium cards that they've gotten during the game, and they're going to score the points that those cards are worth. Each person will also get 1 point for every major guild power card that they have not used, that they've hung on to. And then whoever has the biggest variety of the equilibrium cards is going to get 5 points. And then whoever has the most points is the winner. Now, real quick, let me just, before we end, let me show you what some of these cards let you do. You can see the different actions. This one here lets you move a cube from one spot to one of the 3 across from it. This one here lets you move a cube from one spot to one of the 2 that are adjacent to it. This lets you add a yellow and a white cube to 2 opposite guilds. This Old Debts one, which is a really cool one, lets you, from any guild on the board, you can take one off, add one, or move one. Then up here, this Scapegoat does nothing. You just target a guild and nothing happens. But sometimes you do it so that you can get the 5 Intrigue. And so there's different cards, and some of them will be different per game, and you can play with some different rules, but basically you're just trying to influence these guilds, and the rule book has a whole section that shows you what all the different cards do and what all the different guild powers do. Anyway, most points, winner. Well, this game has so much potential, and it does not arise to that. The idea of adding up to 6 in each of the guilds is a great one. The idea of manipulating 1, 2, and 3 value cubes is good, and getting guild cards and using those. The whole concept, if you said, Tom, what's wrong with this game? It takes a while because it all makes sense. I mean, graphic design could have been improved. It's hard to tell lots of different colors apart much, but I mean, really, there's a couple minor problems and there's a major problem. One of the minor problems is the different cards you put out at the beginning of the game, those should be changed every round. That would add a lot of intrigue of how the game works. As it is, it feels kind of stale putting them on the same spots. Another minor problem is those cards that you put out 2 secret cards in the end. Why is the last one secret? Because you play it and then the game's over. So there's only 1 secret card. I think they should be played in secret the entire game. I think that would add a lot to the game. The biggest problem with the game, though, is just the fact that you have those 2 workers, 1 attacks and 1 defends, and it's simply not that interesting to attack other players. I mean, you can do it, but it's when you attack another player, you want to do it because there's something for you to gain from it. And here you don't gain anything, you just hurt someone else. So if, let's say you're playing a 3-player game, 2 people could attack 1 person and basically stop that person from winning the game. But what essentially happens is I'm working hard to establish equilibrium and you're messing it up. So I'm going to mess you up. And the game doesn't... I almost wish there was like 1 attack pawn and 2 defensive pawns, because the idea of manipulating your own stuff is so interesting, but that's only part of the game. The rest of it's messing over other people. And it's almost like they're forcing you to mess over other people, which just wasn't that interesting. So unfortunately, that really overwhelmingly flavors the game to where I can't recommend it, because I can't... You said, well, I love to attack other people, Vasel. Yeah, you too, but... You feel like in this game you have to. Take a red cube off this thing. Okay. That's really the feeling I got. So I think it has some really cool, innovative ideas, and I think it had the possibility of being a greater game. And I look forward to seeing their next game because I think they can build on this. But it just felt like it was a cool concept, half-baked development. That's where I feel right now. So Intrigue City, a lot of neat things, a really neat idea, but ultimately just not that interesting to play.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door! Or something like that.